So why are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle going back to the UK next month? They have a couple of engagements that they have announced, even though they are private citizens who want privacy for themselves and their families, and they don't really want to be royals. And yet they're very much acting like royals. It's an interesting conundrum, which we'll go over today. Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany, and on this channel we talk about everything related to royals. So that's news, gossip, fashion, jewelry, television shows, movies, and history. We'll do it all right here. So if you want to subscribe, that would be fantastic. And like I said, today news dropped that Harry and Meghan will be coming back to the UK for an engagement in the One Young World Summit, and then they have an Invictus Games event in Germany to count down for the year until those games. And then they are also going back to the UK for the WellChild Awards. And so, as they've said in their statement, Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are delighted to visit with several charities close to their hearts in early September. So these visits aren't necessarily a huge surprise. Obviously last year in September they did kind of a royal push in New York City, trying to establish themselves as pseudo royals and kind of the Duke and Duchess of Montecito. It was a very, very strange couple of days with them walking around, especially Meghan bundled up in winter clothing. We'll have to see if she brings that back for this trip. And then going around and very much presenting themselves as royals. And so that they're doing these events, again, is not a surprise. They claim to be charitable. But why are Harry and Meghan heading back now? This is just kind of an interesting conundrum because, again, they tell us all the time that they don't really want to be attached to the royal family, that they are independent. And yet they're constantly doing things that just remind you that there are former royals attached to the British monarchy. Even in their post, they said the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Heaven forbid we ever forget they're the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Heaven forbid we ever forget that. But I just look at this and it just reminds me again of how Harry and Meghan have really boxed themselves into an unwinnable scenario because they want the world to see them as royals, yet they don't want to be a part of the British monarchy. And ergo, when they're doing things like this, it just seems odd because you're very much doing things that you would have done when you were a member of the royal family, but you're not a working member anymore. You're making announcements and pronouncements as if you are a member of the royal family. And although you are in a personal capacity, you are no longer in a professional one. And yet they constantly portray themselves in this professional state as royals. And that, I think, is a bad thing for their PR. Again, they're not great at PR. I don't really think they are. Because if they want to establish themselves as separate from the monarchy, what they really need to do is actually produce something for Netflix and Spotify. They need to get something off the ground. They need to get it out into the public domain. What instead they've done is they've dragged their feet. You know, those deals are coming up upon a year of being signed. Sorry, not a year, 2 years. These deals are coming on upon 2 years of being signed, and they have pretty much zero to show for it. Spotify has 1 35-minute episodes and 2 trailers. 1 trailer for Archwell Audio that never came to fruition with Harry and Meghan and Archie doing a little cameo. And then we also have Meghan's Archetypes trailer that was supposed to come out this summer, which, I mean, we can pretty much guarantee at this point, unless it drops within the next 2 weeks, which is totally possible. I mean, they've had no buildup to this series. I mean, it seems like very much that this thing ain't gonna get off the ground. And so it's like they have to fall back into this kind of royal persona, this fake royal persona. I call it Meghan's Duchessing. She's Duchessing. And so Harry and Meghan have to fall back into that because they have nothing else. And as I understand it, somebody mentioned that, you know, on Twitter, this is UK Royalty, that's her handle, and she does kind of a lot of falls on both sides, but she does, I think, a pretty good job of bringing in a PR insight into the situation. She says she imagines that Harry and Meghan were paid a boatload by the One Young World Summit and others, and I would not be surprised if that's the case. That the only reason they're going is because they're getting paid for it. Because that's what Meghan always wanted. She wanted to be paid for the charity work she did. Now, somebody could argue that Harry and Meghan as royals are being technically paid by the taxpayer through their taxes, but it's not this exchange. It's not this, well, I will only show up if you give me, let's say, £1 million. That's the only way I'll show up. That's entirely different than, well, I get a steady income by the taxpayer. I mean, they're not really, it goes to support their staff. They get a steady income from the Duchy of Cornwall, which is different. And they go and do various engagements on things that they are passionate about. But they're not saying, I won't go unless you give me, $1 million. That's totally different. But that's what Harry and Meghan are doing. And again, we have these huge questions. Is the Invictus Games now paying for them? Will Harry and Meghan show up and, especially Meghan, in a wardrobe costing, she's out there 3 days. What if she has another wardrobe that costs $80,000 or, $60,000 like she did last time? That's a huge question mark. And it really, again, I think begins to erode their brand, because how can you be going to charitable events in outfits that cost, more than some people make in an entire year? It's just kind of this dichotomy between the two, I think, is really, really problematic for Harry and Meghan. And then you also have this thing that, again, they're trying to be royal, yet they don't want to be a part of the royal family. And I think this is why, again, Buckingham Palace and the royals really need to make this strong demarcation, strip them of their titles, and strip them of their place in the line of succession, because they really need to make this separation, because Harry and Meghan aren't doing it. I think the royal family hoped that Harry and Meghan would do it. Yes, they still have their titles, but, they told the monarchy, we want to do our own thing. We want to be independent. And yet they are entirely dependent on the monarchy, essentially, for propping them up. The monarchy doesn't do this publicly in terms of, supporting their effort, but just via the title. That's what Harry and Meghan are doing. And it's becoming more and more evident as well, I think, that, Harry and Meghan, in addition to Omid Scobie, really want to damage the monarchy the best they can. Omid made this quote when it came to the Diana movie. So today I'm flying out to Poland on Friday. So I wasn't actually really planning on filming a new video, because I have other content to do, or I was going to film something and edit it later. So I actually have at least a couple videos I can edit for that trip. But I was hoping to have a little bit of a quiet week, and that's not how this is turning out in the slightest. But anyways, so we have this kind of quote from Omid about this new movie about Diana called The Princess. And I thought it was really interesting, and I pointed it out, and the Sussex fans lost their minds over this. This is a quote from the movie. When you put a modern person in an ancient institution, they will be destroyed. But once an institution starts destroying people, it's time to recognize there is something fundamentally wrong with that institution and not the people it destroys. That's a very simplistic explanation or examination of what happened to Princess Diana. She was exceptionally young when she married in. And it wasn't the institution as much that I think killed her, although I think it was kind of difficult for her. She was a young woman, but she married in naively. Her husband was difficult and not in love with her. And it was in the process of modernizing, but good modernizing happens slowly. If you react too quickly, I think you end up going too far, and then you kind of lose yourself a bit in the process. The monarchy at the time was kind of expanding, growing, and changing. As it does, it evolves, and it's not something that happens overnight. And in addition, what I felt like Omid was saying was basically, we need to tear down the institution of the monarchy, because it's good for everyone. But if you think about it, Harry and Meghan, if they are helping Omid promote this, doesn't that severely damage their own brand? I mean, of course it does. They're basically saying, tear down the institution that's the only thing that gives us relevance on the international stage. At this point, Harry and Meghan have not established themselves as individual personalities who can lead a movement. I even saw something else, and I apologize because I can't quite remember where I saw it. When I was looking through Twitter a bit today, talking about how basically Harry and Meghan, and I've mentioned this before, they talk about a lot of issues, but they haven't moved the needle on anything. They're not having a tangible impact really on anything except for annoying people and filing lawsuits. Those are the two big things they're kind of good at. And really they rely on the monarchy to give them that relevance, because they haven't been able to establish on their own. Despite what Meghan's stands say, she was not a star before she married Prince Harry. She was a mediocre actress, D level. Nothing wrong with that at all. A lot of actresses and actors find themselves in that boat. But she was by no means this huge star. And this perpetualization that she was this, basically the next Grace Kelly, just falls completely flat, because Grace Kelly was a star on her own. Meghan is not. And Harry, at this point, his whole life is thanks to the monarchy. That's the only thing he has. And that's the only thing they're trading on. They trade off this all the time. But the problem they're running into is that if they're really going to make this work, they have to separate themselves from it. But Omid and themselves are simultaneously also trying to implode the institution, which is kind of ridiculous and completely self-defeating, because at the end of the day, Omid and Harry and Meghan, their whole livelihoods really do depend on the monarchy surviving. You know, Omid can probably go out and perhaps get another job as an entertainment reporter somewhere else, but he's really established his whole relationship. He's anchored his whole relationship to the falling star that is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And the two of them, Harry and Meghan, they have not been able to really show us their talent, show us what they're capable of. I would be really interested to see something that they've been actually able to complete, but they're still apparently filming for their reality TV show. It's like, when is that going to end? You guys have been doing this for over a year. We knew you were filming last year in New York City. How is it a year later, when you seem to have nothing else going on, how can you not get anything done? That's kind of insane, and that's hugely problematic for their brand and their future. So guys, let me know what you think. Like I said, I will be traveling very soon, so I won't be able to do, I have some videos in the queue that I'm gonna be able to edit. Hopefully, I actually still need to find my passport. That's been missing a bit. I'm sure it's here somewhere. And I'm planning on doing perhaps a live stream when I'm in Poland. The last one went really well and you guys seem to really, really enjoy it. So I will try to schedule that one. It would probably be next Saturday, or perhaps even the Saturday or Sunday after that. So if you guys are interested in that, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Bye.